Foldable phones went from sci-fi to everyday tech almost overnight. Samsung, Google, Motorola, OnePlus, Xiaomi, nearly every big Android brand now has a flip-style foldable or a book-style foldable, and new models keep coming. But there's one company everyone's been waiting on, because when Apple moves, the whole market shifts. And that's why the biggest question for this fall is simple. Are we finally getting a foldable iPhone, likely called the iPhone Fold? The idea of an Apple foldable phone has been rumored for years, but Apple isn't known for rushing into new form factors. The long-running belief is that Apple wouldn't ship a foldable iPhone until it could solve the most annoying foldable problem: the display crease. Every foldable you've seen has one, some hide it better than others, but it's always there. And for Apple, always there usually isn't good enough. Now the leaks are getting louder. Several reports suggest the iPhone Fold could be revealed at a September Apple event, with some speculation pointing to September 8th as a likely date. The name iPhone Fold is the most common prediction, though iPhone Ultra has also been floated. One of the biggest signals comes from a Weibo leaker claiming the iPhone Fold has entered trial production at Foxconn, Apple's key iPhone manufacturing partner. If that's accurate, it implies Apple is moving on a real schedule, not a distant concept. But even if Apple announces it in September, don't assume you'll be able to buy it immediately. A report has suggested there are complex issues still being worked through, which could delay availability after the reveal. Normally, Apple opens pre-orders the Friday after the event, with shipping about a week later. So if everything followed the usual timeline, you'd be looking at mid to late September. With a first-generation foldable iPhone, though, a staggered release or limited launch wouldn't be surprising. What's also interesting is how the timeline has shifted. Some industry voices previously pointed as far out as 2027, arguing foldable displays weren't reliable enough for Apple standards and that a visible crease was unacceptable. But more recent chatter has made 2026 feel like the most likely window, with current leaks pushing toward a much sooner announcement. So what kind of foldable iPhone is Apple building? Flip or fold? Apple's iPhone design has been pretty consistent for years. Flat sides, flat screen, rounded corners. Even recent changes like camera bumps, camera bars, and new colors don't really break the classic iPhone silhouette. A foldable iPhone would be a true design reset, and Apple's patents show the company has explored multiple approaches: hinge mechanisms, multi-layer flip phone construction, exposed display regions, and even concepts aimed at reducing or healing crease visibility. Some rumors suggest Apple could go with a top-down folding design like the Galaxy Z Flip, keeping it roughly iPhone-sized when opened. But the latest mock-ups and dummy unit discussion have also pointed strongly toward a book-style foldable, something that opens into a mini tablet experience. One notable dummy and mock-up wave claims the inner display could be around 7.8 inches, with a 4.3 aspect ratio, almost iPad mini territory just under the iPad mini's 8.3-inch screen. That squarer layout could make apps, browsing, video, and games feel more natural than the tall, narrow shape we've gotten used to on modern iPhones. On the outside, most rumors point to an outer display around 5.5 inches, with some saying it could be closer to 5.3 inches. Either way, that's closer to mini phone sizing than a full-size flagship, which could be a love it or hate it change, especially if you're used to a Pro Max. The proportions are also a big talking point. Compared to a Pro Max turned sideways, the foldable could be similar in width, but much taller when opened, which may help with widescreen viewing and on-screen controls in games. Camera-wise, the leaks suggest Apple may keep things simpler than its Pro models. Instead of a full-width camera bar or a triple lens setup, the foldable could use a smaller raised camera area with just two lenses, most likely a main and ultra-wide. No telephoto mentioned so far. That would be a clear sign Apple is prioritizing the foldable form factor and thinness over packing in every camera module possible. And thinness is another huge theme. One dummy suggests around 11mm thickness when folded, but other reports claim Apple is targeting closer to 9 to 9.5mm folded. Some leaks even claim roughly 4.5mm when unfolded, numbers that would put it among the sleekest foldables ever, and potentially Apple's thinnest device in its unfolded state. Behind the scenes, there were also whispers that Apple shifted development focus, moving staff from other projects to push the foldable forward, and that Apple entered a more formal development process with display manufacturers. which is typically a key step toward real production. Now let's talk about the biggest battle Apple has to win: the display. If Apple unveils the iPhone Fold, expect the company to go all in on durability and reliability. Foldables have improved a lot, but the hinge, repeated flexing, and water and dust resistance are still tougher challenges than on a standard slab phone. Samsung is widely rumored to be supplying the foldable OLED display, and Samsung has already shown prototypes described as creaseless or close to it. People who've seen these newer panels say the crease can look almost invisible straight on, with more visibility from extreme angles. Still a big leap forward compared to today's mainstream foldables. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has also suggested the iPhone Fold crease may be so minimal it's effectively invisible in normal use. If Apple can actually deliver that, it becomes the headline feature. The thing that makes a foldable iPhone feel like the first foldable that doesn't come with the usual compromise. Software is the other half of the story, because folding is only impressive if iOS takes advantage of it. Rumors suggest iOS 27 could include features that adapt apps and layouts, depending on whether the device is folded or unfolded. Exactly the kind of Apple-style experience that could make a foldable feel natural instead of gimmicky. As for other rumored iPhone Fold specs, there's talk of a titanium alloy or carbon fiber type frame materials, a battery around 5,000 millimeters, and a dual rear camera setup focused on main plus ultra-wide. There are also claims of a front camera accessible in both folded and unfolded modes. One controversial rumor says Apple might drop Face ID and bring back Touch ID, likely built into the power button because of internal space constraints. That would be a major change, and not everyone buys it. Face ID has been core to the iPhone experience for years. But interestingly, some dummy unit chatter also points to a Touch ID-style side button, plus a dedicated camera control button aimed at easier one-handed shooting. The hinge itself is rumored to use a mix of stainless steel and titanium alloy for strength and durability, and the battery technology may be based on newer iPhone cells for improved longevity. Now for the part that could stop a lot of people in their tracks: price. Early estimates range from around $2,000 to as high as $2,500, with other predictions landing near $2,299 as a potential starting point. That would put the iPhone Fold at the very top of the premium smartphone market, more expensive than most Android foldables and firmly in ultra-luxury territory. If Apple goes there, it has to justify it with build quality, battery life, display reliability, and iOS features that truly make the Fold worth it. Because foldables come with real trade-offs. They're harder to make durable, hinges complicate water and dust resistance, manufacturing costs are higher, and the crease, no matter how improved, has been the #1 complaint for years. The iPhone Fold's biggest selling point will obviously be the new design, because it would look and feel unlike any iPhone before it. But the real deciding factor will be what Apple does with iOS on a folding screen. Apple can't just ship an iPhone that folds. It has to ship the foldable iPhone that finally makes folding feel essential.